Welcome to In the Envelope, a podcast from Backstage, the #1 resource for actors and talent seekers. I am your host, Jack Smart, awards editor at Backstage, and I'm here to guide you through every aspect of the entertainment industry with the help of some of your favorite stars. These intimate, inspirational conversations with today's most award-worthy film, television, and theater artists provide you, dear listener, advice on how to live the creative life, personal stories of success and failure alike, and maybe, just maybe, a tantalizing glimpse in the envelope.
I have my own thing that I do, like, all right, I'll learn my lines in my tub and imagine and kind of do whatever I do there. But then on set, I feel like if you do the work in that way of daydreaming, you can go on set and anything can be thrown at you.
Okay.
Do we do like diction exercises?
In the zone, totally. We're totally in the zone. This is great. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to In the Envelope. This is so exciting. We're finally back, and newsflash, we are going weekly. Before we get to today's fabulous interview with our fabulous guest, Elle Fanning, whose voice you just heard, I am on the line, not in the same room, with Briana Rodriguez of Backstage. Briana, hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Social distancing, as we all should be. How are you?
I'm good, that's right. We're all social distancing. Shouldn't come as any shock to our listeners, but from here on out, for the foreseeable future, podcast interviews are recorded 100% remotely, and so are conversations like this. Briana, I would love to hear a little bit about what's going on at Backstage, because I think what's happening right now, maybe all over the world, is that we are all getting better at connecting remotely from our living rooms.
Yes, I mean, it's a beautiful thing that's born of necessity.
Yes,
so
the
we
mother
have
of invention.
Backstage. The mother of invention is indeed necessity. So as of late, Backstage has been providing what we can from where we can for our community of performers and creators. That is mostly been done through our online programming called The Slate, which is a series of videos, interviews, talkbacks, Q&As with Broadway actors, television actors, casting directors, vocal coaches, acting coaches, fitness coaches, just to keep people moving. So we're really trying to run the gamut in terms of what we can offer people in this really, really tough time. So in addition to that, we're also launching new voiceover profiles, because that's, I'm sure you know, been a huge uptick in voiceover work.
Totally. So, voiceover profiles, remote auditions are on the rise, of course, all available on Backstage.
Yeah, so we're keeping on where we can. And obviously the podcast is a huge part of our remote ways to reach people, which is awesome.
Part of the buffet of content that's available to followers of Backstage. Yeah, I think it's been cool to see that there really is a lot that can be done in lockdown, a lot that Backstage can provide, and a lot that aspiring performers or working performers and creators can do in these very, very strange, very unprecedented times.
Every time I think about it, I'm like in awe of this new reality that we're in. But I'm super proud not to get too self-promotion-y, but I'm really proud of what we can do, what we've been able to do at Backstage. And
yes.
The response has been really awesome from our actor community, our creator community, just doing what we can, like I said.
Yeah, no, you should be proud. The slate is amazing. Everyone should go check it out. We will link to that in all of our new materials. Sending out another note about the podcast going forward is we're certainly still talking to award contenders, mostly actors, maybe a few more writer-director types, but we're also going to be doing these special episodes covering different aspects of the biz, again, for the foreseeable future, there's going to be an eye on this crisis and how we're dealing with that. But Briana mentioned voiceover. We're definitely going to be doing episodes focusing on how to get involved in voiceover, talking to the foremost experts in voiceover. There's a lot coming for the podcast, which, Briana, did I mention it was going weekly? Because we definitely got to mention that.
Yeah, you did.
It's a fairly big aspect of what's to come.
It's amazing. It's a really great addition. I mean, And the Envelope has been amazing.
Almost 3 years of In the Envelope. Yes.
That's crazy. It's been that long.
Right?
That's amazing.
I know. We got to make sure we mark our anniversary episode, and I believe we're coming up on our 100th episode.
Oh, that's amazing.
And now going weekly, we will hit that in no time. So everybody stay tuned.
I mean, the people just want more of the In the Envelope, so we got to give the people what they want.
That's right. Yeah. And I've just been on a recording spree, and we really do have some really exciting guests to come. I'm personally really pleased to have started this whole weekly process with Elle Fanning. You're all about to hear a really, really lovely interview with her. She's the new star of this new Hulu show, The Great. She plays Catherine the Great. Everybody should check it out. Briana, thank you for joining us. Maybe we will connect on a future episode remotely and check in because, I don't know, things change a lot these days.
That they do. And I would love to come back. So anytime you want me,
Great.
I'm here.
Well, thank you. Let's get to it. This podcast is brought to you by Backstage, the world's #1 casting platform. Listen, a lot of the guests on In the Envelope, an awards podcast, used Backstage at the beginning of their careers. It's how they are now in the running for Emmy, for Oscar, for Tony, etc. If you are at the beginning of your career as an artist, here's what you do. You go to backstage.com/subscribe and enter the code ENVELOPE at checkout for a free 30-day trial. That's right, free 30-day trial if you go to backstage.com/subscribe and enter the code ENVELOPE. All you got to do then is make a profile, upload a headshot, and start applying to jobs, to the thousands of casting notices that are uploaded every day, which you can filter online to match your specific talents, your specific needs, your specific looks. Get that dream started today. Check out that free 30-day trial, backstage.com/subscribe, enter the code ENVELOPE. Let's do it. Elle Fanning has been acting her entire life, growing up on screen in both indie darlings and mainstream blockbusters. Since first appearing alongside her sister Dakota Fanning in I Am Sam, Elle has starred in Super 8, Ginger and Rosa, 20th Century Women, The Beguiled, Teen Spirit, and as Princess Aurora in Disney's Maleficent and its sequel. This year, she appears in the Netflix film All the Bright Places and comes to TV as the lead in Hulu's new series from Tony McNamara, The Great, as a young Catherine the Great. Here it is, Backstage's interview with the fabulous Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you were just saying it's actually good to have a kind of a day of press. Do you have a ton of these interviews lined up?
I do. It's until, well, I started around 11 until like 2:30. So yeah, most of my day. It's good to have a schedule.
Yes. And then you said you'll go back to the painting and embroidering by numbers that you're doing?
Yes, exactly. And planning out, meal planning. That's a big thing that I haven't thought of, but I've been cooking a lot and baking a lot.
Nice.
Made some peanut butter cookies and spinach dip.
Lovely. Yeah, all of these new habits, new hobbies that we're all forming now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to get creative. I think, it's important for our minds.
Totally. It's really a widespread adjustment. In fact, I mean, the thing about this podcast is we are all about asking for actorly advice. Our listeners are early career actors and performers at all levels. And it's just odd that I sort of am starting these interviews now by asking, what can actors do these days under quarantine or sheltering in place? What are you doing to kind of stay active or maybe keep your skills or, continue to be inspired?
That's true. That is interesting. I'm someone that I've always had a very big imagination and can kind of sit and just daydream for hours at a time. I was always that way ever since I was super, super little. So I feel a little bit like I'm being brought back to my childhood roots in that sense. I'm with my mom and my sister and my grandmother and thinking and pondering probably a lot more than I have done in the past, which is important. I think you have to keep your imagination alive and draw. And even like, I guess I don't do this, but I feel like I wish I was maybe talented enough too. But if you're someone who makes videos and, likes to edit their own things or just get creative, like shoot stuff around your house or make little animated stop motion films or, that could be fun. I mean, my sister and I growing up, we don't come from an acting family at all.
Right.
Our family is all sports related people. So my mom played tennis, my dad played professional baseball, and then my mom's dad was a quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
So my sister and I were supposed to be tennis players.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But then we were super like fair skinned and just get totally sunburned and outside playing tennis and cry. And my mom's like, this is not working out like I thought. But because we were born in Georgia as well. And then my sister kind of started this acting thing because my mom would put her in soccer or cheerleading or gymnastics or just trying to find what it was that she liked to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there was like a play camp, and that was kind of a part of the activities. And she went, and she was 5 years old and got this part in a play called The Blue Fish, and she could memorize the lines. She was 5, but she got the main part. She got the blue fish. And from there, they were like, maybe you should go to New York or LA and try pilot season. And and my mom's sister, my aunt, was already living in LA doing sports newscasting, like sideline reporting.
Okay. So sort of related.
Entertainment, sports. But so my mom's like, oh, let's go to visit my sister and do the pilot season or, try out for whatever. And then like literally my dad and I stayed in Georgia, but then after that, my sister got 10 commercials and then got I Am Sam.
Right.
The movie with Sean Penn, and she was 6, and we never came back. Like we never went back to Georgia.
Wow.
Like my dad and I joined our family in LA. And then from there on, it was just, okay, I guess this is like our home now. And then I was such a ham growing up. So I always wanted to do whatever my sister did. And so it just, it all weirdly, I was like, I want to try out for things. I, did some commercials, like a Smucker's commercial and Target commercial. I did 2 of those. And then started to get to do movies too. But when you watch, I mean, it's interesting because when you watch like home videos of us, it's like, I was like, we were so uncomfortable in front of the camera and like wanted to show off. Yeah, I would dress up but my sister and I would do these elaborate games. Like we would play with each other, but it would not be a play for anybody else. Like we didn't want anybody else to watch. It was just for ourselves. Like we would just do these scenes.
It's that imagination you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So people can come up with some scenes to whoever they're hibernating with.
Totally. And then when this is all over, move to LA and start working in commercials. And
right.
Exactly. It's so great that it's so good to hear about your kind of the origin story, because we're always interested, of course, in like, when did you get bit by the acting bug, or what were your earliest memories? But for you don't have any memories pre-acting.
I guess not. I guess not pre-acting. I feel like that's always been...
That's been the goal.
In my earliest memories.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate. Like I got to go to a regular school and I had that life as well. Like I was homeschooled till I was 8 by my grandmother. And then I realized, I was like, Mom, I have no friends that are my age. And it was like, all right, let's change that. And she put me in a school in LA. And I got to go to proms and have that life. And then I fulfilled her prophecy. I played volleyball and basketball.
Oh, okay.
So that was good. Yeah, because I grew 7 inches when I was 12 in 1 year.
Yes. Okay.
And it like really hurt. And so I played all the tall sports growing up. But yeah, I got to, so I kind of had that balance. But obviously movies were my extracurricular activity. You know, I would go and I would travel and I always I felt like, wow, I guess there was a movie I did called Phoebe in Wonderland. And when I was 9 and I played a girl, Phoebe, and she had Down syndrome or had a Tourette syndrome. And I met a lot of kids with Tourette's at that time and with the director and I realized, oh, like this is also a job. And also like I had a newfound like respect for the job because I also I realized, I'm portraying this person's life. Like it was just something clicked in my brain. And I think at that moment when you realize, okay, it's definitely fun and pretend and dressing up and all those great things, but also there is a responsibility that comes with it and it is a job. And after I realized that, I still wanted to do it. And I think that was kind of the point for me of realizing, okay, this is what I want to do. Right. And I really, like, I actually enjoyed that responsibility and also the challenge of it. I think like when I'm terrified or really feel like I'm under pressure in a situation, it's very thrilling to me. Like I love it. I thrive off of that.
Sure. Oh, I could see that. I can see that in your work. I feel like for sure. We always love hearing about that kind of the mix of the professional and the fun, which I think is especially true for child actors, because you definitely only want to do it if it's fun. But as you're saying, like it's also about realizing that there's a big responsibility that comes with portraying other people. Yeah. And with the business side of things. So I suppose you could have had that realization and gone, oh, I'm not up for this. I'm not up for that part of it. And I just
exactly
kind of goof around or just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. I know it's kind of you. And also you realize, I mean, there's a lot of too, like the disappointments that come with like auditioning and not getting the part. And there's obviously a lot of rejection in an actor's life and people say no to you a lot. And you have to learn how to pick yourself back up again and find that passion again, which is something, because some rejections, you can just be so upset by it that you get really discouraged and don't want to try again. Yep. But there's always like, who was it? Maybe I feel like my sister told me this about, because she just worked with Quentin Tarantino. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't know if I'm getting it exactly right, but it was interesting to me. Like I thought really, because people ask you like as an actor, like, oh, what's advice that you would give to an actor? And, for me, I'm like, oh, well, I feel like I'm an actor that like also like, I still need advice and like, who am I to give advice? But I think my sister told me of like how Quentin will, he's watching commercials or watching movies and like watching even like the background actors and will cast his movies like based off. He's like, you were really good in that commercial, and like someone got like a really really big part from just like walking. He liked the way he walked in a commercial. So I'm like, wow, like that really tells you nothing is ever too small. Like you never know who is watching. Like take every single opportunity and just give your whole heart into it, because you don't know what other opportunity can come from that. From that one little, they like the way you said that line or whatever.
That's terrific advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause because I really learned on set of like my whole life was just, I didn't go to, a professional acting school or anything. So it was truly just picking up on how everyone else worked around me and kind of molding myself from that, which that was kind of my school, I guess.
Your school, right? Exactly. And I wanted to ask too, because looking at the list of people you've worked with, it's insane. I mean, you've worked with more than one Coppola, which that's incredible. So I'm wondering, like, is there a piece of advice that you've received from any of those people, any of those fellow actors, maybe that you've worked with that has really guided you?
Ooh, I've gotten to work with Nicole Kidman, and she was always someone that was huge, like inspiring, like just when I was young, like I mean, I still feel this way. I am young. I'm like, it's like people like when you're little, you say, oh, when I was young, but I still feel this way. But like, I just want to be like her, like as an actor, like I just love her, and as a human being, she's just amazing. And I've gotten to work with her, and she was saying something that was interesting, because also like when you're choosing your parts, you never know. It's like, God, when you get to a phase when you're like, a script comes to you and you're like, do you do it? Do you not? Like,
Yeah.
go off your gut. And I'm very instinctual in that way. But also, I guess, again, this goes back to like taking the opportunities. But Nicole was like, it's fine. Like, you can, like, nothing is ever going to be a mistake. Like, you're always going to learn from the experience, and you're never going to regret that you did it.
Right. Okay.
You know, and I do feel that way. I don't regret any movies or choices that I've done. Like, everything always leads to the next thing. And you never know what anyone's going to like. It's about the experience. And she was like, so it's fine. Just do it. Like, do as much as you can. Like, it's such a privilege that we get to, you know, be on set. So it's like, just take all the opportunities. Like, why not?
Say
you
yes.
know, you're young, say yes. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting, because normally everyone's always trying to get you to strategize, you know, and
right.
And she was so, you know, I mean, of course that comes with it, but she was also, you know, it's like, it's okay. Like, you know,
if that's
I think
what
people are
her,
always so worried about making mistakes. You know?
Absolutely. Right. Like if at the earliest point in her career, if she was saying yes to everything, then she can then achieve that level of career where you can be more discerning. I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what she was trying to say.
No, yeah. And I mean, I was going to add, you're literally answering every question I have on my list. You're reading my mind. No,
I like talk a lot.
Oh no, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. Because I know that you didn't have any formal training. And so you're on set with all these people. And I assume that the closest thing you have to a technique is more like, it really depends on the material and the job. Is that safe to say?
Yes, that is safe to say. I think like the script is really what is there for me. And I think there's also, of course, like people are like, what's the process? And like, yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to, like, I get embarrassed talking about it because it's something I think that feels so personal to me. It also feels very abstract. But I also feel very malleable, like in a way that I have my own thing that I do. Like, all right, I'll learn my lines in my tub and imagine and kind of do whatever I do there. But then on set, I feel like if you do the work in that way of daydreaming, you can go on set and anything can be thrown at you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, anybody can work whatever way they want to work, and it's going to be fine because you're going to feel solid, and also then be free to be spontaneous and just go there. And some, you know, I've worked with directors who love to do tons of rehearsal and love to talk through things, and some who don't. Right. You know, you just do like, all right, do a couple costume fittings, and then boom, we're in, and you hardly even talk to them, you know? So it's like, you have to be able to set yourself up to be prepared for either way. Like, so it's not a make or break situation, you know?
Yeah.
But then again, you know, people have things they do and it totally works for them. So I guess it's just finding what works for you. But
totally.
I like being able to feel free and being able to feel like I can be thrown into any situation and it won't shake you too much, you know?
Yeah. A lot of people, especially on this podcast, they talk about kind of how to be in the moment and how to listen to your co-stars and, like you're saying, respond organically. And I love that for you, it seems to really be about the imagination and almost connecting back to that like childlike state of creativity.
Definitely. I think, that's a huge part of everything. I think I've also tried to, I don't know, as I've like gotten older, but I think it's like for me, when I like favorite actors or, you know, that I watch, I'm like, wow, like they do have like a childlike, like make believe, like inside them that like has never died. You know, it's like, it's there. So I hope that I can always hold on to that, because at the end of the day, we're literally dressing up and like our job's like so funny.
Totally.
You know, like there's part of it that you also, you know, can't take too seriously at the same time. Yeah. And you have to have fun.
Totally.
In that way.
So it's not like you are approaching a role based on like, because you've played such a wide variety. You've played a pop star, you've played teenager, you play a Disney princess,
right?
And like there's indie film, there's big budget movies, there's television. You don't think about any of these gigs as necessarily any different from the next, right? It's just
I don't.
Take it as it comes. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I really don't. It was interesting for me because like for the TV show, I've never done TV. Like, I've never done a series before. So
you've never had a regular role on TV. Yeah.
No, I did like, you know, little like guest, like it was like on Criminal Minds when I was little, you know, like Law and Order, the here and there.
Kind
but
of
I've never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done a full show like this. And I was curious, like, is it going to feel different? Like, and I think parts of it, and it didn't, like, I didn't approach the character in a different way. Like, that was just like, okay, but I just had more time to develop the arc because you don't have to cram it in a 2-hour space. It's like you have literally 10 hours to mold this person. So that was exciting that I felt like you could show her development. I could show it in small stages rather than having to kind of jump to the chase because the end of the movie is coming. But so that was good.
And with TV, you don't necessarily know the ending either. You don't know where your character.
No, that's true. Yeah, I had a sense. I think Tony was generous about that, but then at the same time, he changed a lot of things. His thought process to Tony McNamara was our showrunner and writer, creator of the whole show. And he had a sense, but then he would even watch things and be like, oh, wow, these characters really work well together or, this or that. So I had a sense, but
that's the beauty of TV.
It is. It was cool. I mean, you're constantly on your toes. And then also we didn't have that. I mean, how many days did we shoot a whole episode? It was like something crazy. I mean, our episodes are an hour long.
Right.
So they are pretty long.
Totally.
And so it was, I think, maybe like 13 days or something like that. Something like, it was like, whoa, like I'm not used to that,
No.
But I guess we shot the Beguiled, like Sophia's movie, in like 20 days. That was
okay.
But that's a whole movie. So
but it's that interesting thing where, like, I suppose Maleficent 2 counts as like revisiting a character or continuing a character. But like, this is really your first chance to dig into somebody whose story is more long form and like open-ended.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And she really starts at a certain place. Like in the first episode, Catherine is very young and almost naive, but she has this really kind of beautiful optimism and almost, and is super romantic and wants to find her love, and then is really kind of smacked in the face with reality, and it's like, okay, like, how do I deal with this situation? Literally, my husband is not what I thought, and he's not my love. And maybe Russia is like my destiny. And I love how the show kind of grapples with fate and fulfilling your destiny and things. But just being able to have her grow and find her voice. And, but in a really, I was also very aware though, that people can classify her under, wow, she's so brave and powerful and she's a strong female character, and like parts of me are like allergic to that sentence a bit.
Totally.
Like what does that mean?
I mean, totally hear that. Yeah, none
of us are all strong or always brave or make the right decisions, and so it was important for me that she doesn't always do that, and this is just her road to finding her voice as a young woman. More so than just being the strongest person in the room, which she's totally not. Not at all. She's super young and still figuring it out. So it was cool to show someone who's, royal, and we got to turn on its head and in this kind of irreverent way too.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And of course, I have to ask the research question, because this is a period piece, but as you say, it's also turned on its head is like the perfect phrase. I assume you saw Tony's work and you had seen The Favorite, and all of that must have informed the filming.
Yes. It was interesting how it kind of came to light, because I read, so the script, it used to be a play that he put on in Australia, Catherine the Great, years ago. And then it was like, came in a film version. It was like, maybe I'll do it as a movie. And I actually read that movie script.
Oh, cool.
That actually more spanned her life. Like, it was young to much older Catherine, like up until her death. And then there was this idea like, okay, maybe we should do a TV show like out of this, and so we can really split up, her life and be able to just have more time to put the details in and things. But obviously our show is very, loosely based on historical facts. So there are things that are true of, she brought science and female education and art and her period was the Enlightenment period. And I mean, that's for sure in the show, but there are things that we for sure, we have fun and make up a lot of things that we definitely make up. So I don't know if this is like going to be every historian's like dream show, but I hope they can
Totally.
respect the fun that we have with it. Because those people, I mean, back in the day, you can't imagine. I'm sure they were inventing things, had new ideas. The real Catherine the Great invented the roller coaster. She loved sex. Like they were having a good time.
Right.
They were having parties. Like,
Totally.
so we got to do that, and I'm going off top. You asked me something. I was like, and I was getting to
No, it's terrific.
something.
I mean, I assume there was also research of
research. Yeah, the research question
her whole life
that I'm
too.
dodging. Yeah.
No. But that's sort of interesting. Like if you're playing her young, maybe the only research you need to do is like Catherine up until the age you're playing her,
right?
and not look at the future Catherine. Maybe
I have to say, like, I didn't do much research. Of course, I read things. Read little things about her. And I think there was a book of like letters that she had written, and I looked up her handwriting, to see what that looks like, just fun things like that. But that doesn't I don't know. It doesn't like inform me that much for character. If she's someone that's like not someone who I'm trying to, need to sound like or act like, or someone that people truly, truly know.
Immerse in mannerisms.
That would be really fun. I haven't really I've never gotten that opportunity yet, but I would love that. You can really dive in. But for this, it was different. I think for me, it was also, the challenge was also comedy. Like I haven't done comedy that much.
Sure.
So like the rhythm of that was different. Like I would read the scripts and go down to, oh my God, like that's a joke. Like I have to sell it. Like I have to get the rhythm right. Like
Gotcha.
I want people to laugh. I mean, you obviously, and you realize really quickly, like if you're trying to make someone laugh, they're not going to laugh.
Don't try too hard. Do
not try too hard.
Sure.
But also just getting over my embarrassment. Like I think I had to not be embarrassed. Like I just had to go for it. Like do the crazy thing. Like make the face go there. You can always rein it back. Yes. But also in editing, you just realize those little moments,
especially for
like
comedy.
obscurity. Yeah, for comedy, like you need that. So I realized that quick. And Tony's writing is so particular. And working with Nicholas Hoult, I've worked with him before on this movie called Young Ones. I was 14. He was like 21 or so, but we were married in that movie, like strange marriage. Like we have a history of like bad marriages under our belts.
You guys are terrific together.
He's just like the best sparring partner. And like, we love to challenge each other. I think we really work in a similar way, maybe because we were both child actors on it. We look at the set in a similar way, and he's just brings so much like charm. And he was also very comfortable with the tone because he was in The Favorite. So for me, the tone was kind of a little bit new to me. So he definitely helped me with the rhythm and getting your mouth around the words. It was just different. Like the memorization. I've never ever like focused on memorization as much of a part than I did. Like that was a really big challenge. Like Tony would write such big chunks and like these 6 pages. And for Nick too, we worked all day, then we'd come back at night and I like still be in it because we have to learn the lines for the next day. Like it was just a constant, the words, this language was so I'm thinking about it now. I don't know. It was so much because we had to be word perfect. Like
you got to be word perfect.
Yes.
Right. And the rhythm.
But sometimes you don't like, on other films, like sometimes it's okay. Like it's about being natural and interpreting it yourself. And if it's not perfect, it's fine. But with this, it's I mean, it's the respect for Tony's writing and also just he's written it in a certain way. It has to be, Right. So that was new.
Totally.
For sure.
You're rehearsing the lines, but you're also rehearsing the timing of the lines. It's all about the rhythm for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my God, Elle, thank you. I want to get you on your way, but also I want to ask you a couple of very backstagey questions.
Okay.
We're all about nerdy, actorly stuff.
Oh gosh.
I ask these questions of everyone. And they don't have to be rapid fire, but I'm just going to dive right in. How did you get your SAG-AFTRA card? Do you remember the gig that got you that?
I wish that well, I guess it would. Is that when do you have to speak on screen or can you just be on screen? Because I'm trying to think.
I think it's just be on screen.
Be on screen. Okay, then it would have been I played my sister at a young age in I Am Sam.
It was I Am Sam. Okay, wow.
Yeah, it was. Then because I had to swing on the swing with him and then lay in the grass in the park. And I remember it was like they kept telling me like, oh, your eyes like, when you're pretending to sleep is actually a very hard thing. It's hard for me because your eyeballs, like, they shake,
Sure.
So, but when you're pretending, but when you're actually sleeping, they don't. So I remember that was like, they're like, her eyes are like moving. It looks like she's not sleeping. Till this day, it's something I like struggle with. It's hilarious.
Wow.
I played like Sleeping Beauty. I was like, oh, geez.
Oh, right. Literally Sleeping Beauty.
No. Yeah.
I've never quite heard that before, that sleeping is actually hard to convey. It's true.
Yes. It's also okay. Maybe like open your mouth a bit, like get some drool going. I'm like, it's like there's a lot of like pretty sleepers. You like see those shows, like people like wake up with like full makeup. I'm like, I'm allergic to that.
And that does not happen in The Great at all.
I don't think so. No, I tried to get some drool going. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a show that lends itself well to drool, I feel like.
Yes.
Totally. What is one performance that every actor should see and why?
Ooh.
Film, TV, anything.
Oh my God.
This is the hard one.
Everyone's like, no, why are you asking me this?
Totally. And we can totally circle back.
No, maybe. Okay, let me think. What's like popping into my head, funny enough, is Holly Hunter in broadcast news.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
So that's what popped into my head. So maybe I'll go. I mean, I love Holly Hunter.
Yes.
She's just so, when she's sitting on the bed, right? And she's like she goes from she's like sobbing and laughing. Like her character is she's just so good in it. Holly Hunter is amazing. But I don't know. I love that performance. That's what came to mind.
That's great. No, the gut answer is the only answer. That's the best.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if do you have a worst audition horror story?
Yes, actually. That's easy.
Okay.
I fainted in an audition.
Oh no.
Full on. I was young too, and it was a movie with like Jessica Chastain. I don't even know if it ever came to be. I did not get the part, obviously. But I was young. My grandmother brought me to the audition, and it was one of those weird it was like very. It was so rushed. Like, I don't know why they were rushing so much. It was very weird because I met with them, and then I met with the director, and she talked to me, and then we went, and then they gave me sides. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, come back in a couple hours. Never do that to someone. I hate auditions with a burning passion. I hate them. Okay. I can't, I just hate them. And it was just like, okay, of course it's like the audition, you're sobbing hysterically, like bearing your soul. Like it's always those, yes. In a room full of strangers, you're like, totally. Okay, I don't know you. Like, you just want me to just cry in front of you. And it's very weird and vulnerable, but I had the sides and I had to learn them really quick and then go back, which never do that. Always give someone days. And then I just went in there and they had set up this whole weird lighting situation too. And then they had hired an actor that wasn't going to be the actor in the part, but he was there to read with me. And then I just fainted, literally fainted. I went into we started it and I fainted and we were like, all right, that's it. My grandma was like, all right, bye.
We're pulling the plug.
Yeah, exactly. And wow. I got Pinkberry and Burger King afterwards. So it was a win.
It's important to treat yourself after a bad audition.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. Wow. I've never heard of such a thing. Well,
I know. Got so nervous, I guess.
I wonder if for a second they were like, oh, fainting. What a strong choice to make.
I know. See, I was like, maybe I'm going to get it. I was like, maybe they were just she was so worked up that she.
Right. She took it so seriously.
Exactly.
Well, this has been great because we really, I feel like this podcast is all about getting a window into actors' creative process. And you've really provided that. I really have a sense of how you do things and how you're so good at it. So thank you, Elle.
Gosh. Thank you so much. It was fun.
Super fun.
Talking
Thank you
about
for all
this.
this. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for our listeners?
That's a big one. I mean, just like you have to love it. I think that that's also the key. Like you really have to love it because it takes up a lot of your time and also takes a lot of like hard work. Like it's not just something that you can show up and, not work at. So it takes dedication and just keep going, you never know it in any time, any age, doesn't matter. There could be something. So.
That's excellent advice. Thank you, Elle.
Thank you.
In the Envelope, an awards podcast, is recorded at Lotus Productions and Hyperbolic Audio in New York City and Soundbox LA, Mark Gross Studios, and Buzzies in Los Angeles. Thanks as always to podcast producer extraordinaire Jamie Muffett and to the team at Backstage, Samantha Sherlock, Mark Stinson, Caitlin Watkins, and of course, Casey Howe. Visit Backstage.com, and don't forget, you can subscribe to Backstage by using the code ENVELOPE at checkout for a free trial. That's right, 100% free. For more exclusive content, join us on Facebook and Twitter at In the Envelope, and subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Who would you like us to interview next? Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time for another glimpse in the envelope.